And the thing about that as well is if this Zuzu guy had introduced, not Zuzu, sorry, let's say his name was Peter, whatever. Nah, Adam. Let's just stick with Adam. Let's say his name was Adam. If Adam and I had gotten together first, do you have any idea what I would have avoided, guys? Like, properly. I keep saying, like, this whole scenario, yeah, Adam, it keeps replaying in my mind because the Lord is showing me, He's shown me a lot about that particular crossing of paths of me and Adam, with me being the proverbial Eve in this instance. If I had the Adam thing, if they not humored, I was happy to humor it. Adam is the one that wasted time, okay? Type setup thing. If the Adam thing had happened, I keep saying to the Lord, no, but Father partook in sexual relations much too young. If I had ended up no Adam, so it couldn't have worked out because it was going to compromise me as a young girl. I would have been in too much love at too young an age to avoid sexual immorality. Well, I mean, I eventually like cracked that issue at 17. That was still too young, but goodness, I'm like, I told you, this dude, I had a crush on him. We were basically spazzing over each other for primary. So we are speaking, what, 13, 14. Like, who in the world is busy having sex at 13, 14? So I don't even know if I would have had the self-control to not fornicate at that age if I had dated, like pretty much from the beginning of high school or even primary school. I don't know if I would have been able to avoid fornication and things like teenage pregnancies, blah, 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 what have you. There was too much passion for it to be safe. So I guess it was ideal that nothing ever really did. But I keep on saying, if at all you're saying that things were messed up by curse vibes before Adam and I could actually end up together, what if then we had human it from youth? Would it not have compromised me sexually? I never really get an answer concerning that. But then what I do know is that minus the sexual immorality, if at all we were able to exercise self-control to not fornicate as teenagers, but just were like boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, something that would not have been approvable in the sight of God, because really recreational dating is wrong. With the right guidance and going to church and whatnot, two young people that are very much in love can grow up next to each other and then ultimately end up married without sinning against God, type establishment thing. So if that was enabled, what would it have blocked in my life? So you can understand the ramifications, the far-reaching ramifications of curses being sent to you through your auntie that was cursing your mom, and now it came into your bloodline. It reached, yeah, you get my point. What would have I avoided? What would I have avoided if I had ended up with a guy that I was supposed to love from the very get-go, that now today is a bitter little animal that's busy saying, I would have married you, that guy didn't deserve you? Shut up. What would have happened? First and foremost, every random idiot that I ever met, I would have just crossed paths with them, but never ever been with them. I wouldn't have dated the guy who did finally take my virginity at 17. That is a relationship I regret, because he's busy with me with witchcraft today. I wouldn't have dated the next guy after him. Witchcraft. He ended up passing away. I wouldn't have dated the next guy after him. Witchcraft. He didn't pass away, but he turned out to be a member of the colorful agenda. He was a closet homosexual. Guys, like what in the world? I then would not have dated my ex-boyfriend. Witchcraft. Long story short, if I had dated from the time I was like 14, minus fornication, because who is trying to fornicate at 14? I would have had one boyfriend from 14, 39, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I would have been with the same guy and avoided witchcraft and just random recreational dating. I would have avoided a body count of 5. I would have avoided bitter exes that would have been like, you are mine. And on top of that, remember I told you, he would have been the one to introduce me, my ex-boyfriend, because I would have been his girl and not my ex's girl, meaning that my ex would not have allowed himself to develop a crush on his boy's girl. So I would have just been some girl that is dating his boy. I would have been rather his boy's girl. And so my ex would have just, I guess, respected that and not even looked at me. Instead, we were not together. And so for those reasons, they are railing snakes, and they have kept their women on suspended like flies on a spider's web in marriages where they can't escape because their men are holding them hostage with sorcery. Similarly to the women, when you are with a man that it does not suit you, for crying out loud, and similar vice versa, when you are not secure in a relationship and you have learned about African spirituality, that's what's good. So we've got women out here littering men and men littering women, and everybody is in a psychiatric hospital in a stray suit taking a cocktail of medications, and couples are both just in like a rut of darkness. What in the world? If I had dated Adam, I would have avoided that whole trail of cadavers. I would have avoided all this witchcraft. Like all this witchcraft. I would have avoided the witchcraft of the dude who broke my virginity. I would have avoided the witchcraft of the dead ex. I was just the gay guy, the closet homosexual. I could see why since he was in the closet. Like, I let him go fly like a bird and be a member of the colorful agenda, and he was like, no, not on my watch. Yo, guys, I would have avoided all of that. But at the same time, I might have been a teenage pregnancy. I don't know. I was just too young. I was too young for it to begin. But university would have been perfect. First year varsity, that was the opportunity. But by first year varsity, there would have been the dude that broke my virginity. And that little animal followed me with witchcraft. So frankly, the ideal time that this would have commenced is exactly at the time we met, primary school. But what would have stopped him from going to the occult? Since Kimo Twasitse Kajeko, ke sangoma, kabanga, utwele manje, he's the one with the snake on his roof. Yes, like yazi nambani zinjanduwe ka ditlhare tsa lona ntse tswelang pele tsamayang ke mo motho o busy o loile ha botlhoko hampe hobane auntie e blokile lenyalo ho lokile akere. I've had so many dreams about this guy, about his family too, loving me, embracing me on some, but it didn't happen. Please, let's just move on. I didn't date him. We crossed paths, but it didn't happen. But that was God showing me, if it had happened, this would have been the situation. Mara una tlo twasa anyway. Una tlo twasa. Ke tlo metsang na no twasitseng na ke le mzalwane. It would have been unequally yoked. Unless, of course, I would have been able to influence him as a helper suitable, to rather choose to work for Jesus instead of Satan. For him to ignore it demonic calling yokuba izangoma. If at all, maybe he was supposed to be the Adam, I would have been sufficiently able to choose Christ and not anything else. I would have been convicted by the Holy Spirit. And if I spoke into his spirit about Christ in a way that I wasn't able to succeed with my ex-boyfriend, because at the same time that I was trying to bring my ex into that camp, and he rejected it. But who knows, when you've got a kindred spirit, a bird of a feather, a little bit of an Adam, a man that you've been made from the ground, letsopa, to be the helper suitable for, a man that you've been made from a rib to be the helper suitable for, perhaps maybe your peaceable and quiet spirit can reach him for Christ. Maybe he would have been like, okay, Angio Twasa, I'm not gonna go Twasa. I will rather go with you to church. Let's do this. Let's together just love God. Who knows? I might have been able to reach him for Christ because I guess we were on the same wavelength spiritually. We were called in the same space. Many are called, but few are chosen. Marakimo, is that the guy, the one who got away? No, I'm sorry, I'm the one who got away to him, not the other way around. Why? Because go 15 years ago fela anabuti o tlo tshwara ke kwaba ba sebaka se skakang o tlo kudiswa ke kwaba ba sebaka se skakang. Now a woman is 39 and so are you, also 39 this month, and you're married to some other woman, and the woman that you feel like you're supposed to marry, you're dissing her, teasing her in all of your satanic worship, continuously following her content, saying I would have married you unkile 15 years abuti 10-15 years yonke to finally realize that buddy, if anything, my ex-boyfriend has got one up on you, because at least he pursued me in a way that you didn't, so you don't get to compete. It's that basic. Now, in this dream that I had, like I told you, it was the one year this guy, Adam, it was sutured to my aunt's witchcraft. It commenced there. Now this is a continuation of all of the insanity that things that my aunt did has done to the country at large, or women like my aunt, women that separate true romance, that are so jealous of their friends that you will literally make sure that she doesn't marry the right guy. So my aunt made my mom marry the wrong dude. That whole thing started there. And then the guy that I met, that I was supposed to eventually end up married to, wahamba wayale nam ngayale, and later on he became the bane of my existence. When that continues to happen, so first of all, you get a gender-based violence situation in the relationship that the woman ends up in because she's too big for the guy. But the guy that she was supposed to end up with then becomes all possessive, and like I said, with this guy telling me that he would have married me, type thing. Then ababa, a little afflictor of the relationship. So you get a lot of jealousy. You get possessiveness in men that causes them to sow discord in relationships, that the women that they wasted time with, or that they were supposed to be with, but that did not quite happen, they sow discord in those relationships. So it's just like a whole cantankerous affair. Kuba loud nje in the cosmos, where gyatagatwa left, right, and center, and people cannot breathe. No one can come up for air. That's what's good. When then that's the case, literally the whole country is inebriated. The whole country is now drunk. The whole nation is now drunk. Do you understand what I'm saying? And marriages are being kept together with sticky tape because no one is married to who they were supposed to be with. No one is with the perfect in a spiritual sense. So everybody is busy reminiscing about the crush in primary school. Woo. Everybody is busy reminiscing about the girl that they passed up in university. Everybody's busy reminiscing about the woman in the office that they did not ask for coffee. In a marriage, everybody is busy bumping into people at malls and singing John Legend's song, Ran into you yesterday. Memories rush through my brain. It's starting to hit me. Now you're not with me. I realize I made a mistake. What can I do to feel right? Can I come see you tonight? It's so crystal clear now. I need you here now. I gotta get you back today. This time I want it all. This time I want it all. I will be all you need. This time it's all of me. Twing, 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 twing. Twing, 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 twing. That's the guys. The women be bumping and he's married. At that time, he's like married to someone and he's busy running into you yesterday. Now he wants to divorce his wife and come back into your life. The women, they go to the mall and they bump into a little bit of why did I give him the name of Adam? And she's like, not bump into a, she bumps into a friend. And then she's like, I heard from a friend today, and she said you were in town. And suddenly the memories came back to me in my mind. How could I go on my love and dancing time and time again, and I never fall in love with you again? Doom, 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 doom. Here we are alone again. Didn't think it'd come to this. Good intentions you had many. I know you did. Oh, shut up. She's out here having an affair. Ne ex high school. Boyfriend at high school, or some dude that she passed up in high school, or that passed her up, whatever, even though he had like a mad crush, like blah blah. Now you have like literally marital unfaithfulness is now a problem, where everybody is cheating with either the run into you yesterday lady, or the I heard from a friend today guy. Like Wongumuntu is trying to turn back the hands of time and redo things properly. And then I just so happened to be somebody's ran into you yesterday, a couple of somebody's, and they are probably trying to have an affair with me at the expense of their wives, having passed me up. And it's like, yasin, Zinjantin, marital unfaithfulness is an issue in the sight of God, but now they're using witchcraft to block me from ever marrying, ever getting anywhere, ever, because Ranung, you are running into me yesterday, but instead of running into me yesterday, you're seeing my content on YouTube yesterday, and you realize, oh, since I 15 years, girlfriend, or since I 15 years, or we're now since I 5 years without proposing marriage to a woman, or this or that. It's like, you know what, Blom, a whole spate of adultery that is spurred by people la lawyer. And then when you snap out of your little witchy thing that you are in, then you suddenly want to go and bombard with insults the girl you passed up in high school. Are you serious? Sure. Since these men as well, right, end up marrying Jezebel women in favor instead of, I get it because by lawyer. And so they prosper to make men marry them, even though, really frankly, this dude would not have chosen her. They then wake up inside this marriage with a Jezebel. That's what's good. And realize that, oh no, snap, like shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have married her. They're out here feeling guilty for stealing Naboth's vineyard. So now they find their wicked women detestable. Now that you've tolerated her and you're in great tribulation, onale attitude, you're passing her shade. So now the song that you sing your Jezebel lady is ha la la la, bum dum 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 dum, ha la la la. Your poor Jezebel don't know what in the world done hit her, because now you're passing her shade over imagining the ex or the woman that got away from long ago. Now that you've run into her yesterday, now you're out here passing Jezebel on some baby. When I used to love you, nothing that I wouldn't do. I went through the fire for you, anything you asked me to. But I'm tired of living this lie. It's getting harder to justify. I realize that I just don't love you, not like I used to. Holla, holla, holla. Really? You out here pulling a John Legend on a Jezebel that you showered with gifts at the expense of a woman that was busy singing all I could do was cry. All I could do, when you went and married a woman that was not the one that you were supposed to marry. And now the one you were supposed to marry, you made her cry, she cried, she's finished. And now you bump into her yesterday, memories run through your brain, and you realize that you shouldn't have done that. And then you start to pass Jezebel shade, and then you tell Jezebel infinite divorce so you can go and marry the woman you were supposed to marry in the first place. You go and you divorce your first wife for the woman who was supposed to be your first and only wife, because you were so under a spell and in and of yourself no lawyer way so much that they prospered to take your wife away from you. And now you're snapping out of it. You're all grimy, you're dirty, you are stanky. Gold to so house and the swagger that you used to have, and you wanna come and kokota on Karabo's door. Pumpele sugagim. That's what's good. Like Zhuang Mon. I'm not going to be an adulteress, but no, these females, they don't get it. They don't realize that, frankly, I'm here to be a life buoy, a rescue effort of sorts to you. I am a helivac. I am trying to help you, if at all you're young and have not yet made mistakes in your life, to get out of this, or if you're in a marriage, if you want to get out of it, because lawyer, you don't get to remarry. Divorce, do you, sister girl. Mara, celibacy for the rest of your life. Embrace that. Take that in your stride. Unless your ex-husband passes away. That's the only way out. Go into remarriage after a marriage doesn't get dissolved. It's a widowhood. Widowerhood. What is the opposite of a widow? Widowa. The only way to remarry is if you're a widow. That's what's good. And vice versa for men. Mara, halili get into that situation. Instead, you literally want to go and leave a whole living, breathing, healthy woman that's still got another 30 years on her of mileage. You want to go and leave her for karabo. Like baggage engaga. Throw it on me based on indabyoguti saying that 39, I'm turning 40. You who's telling me that you would have married me at the tiny age of 24 and by now we'd have 7 healthy children. You wanna come and tell me, Adam, that frankly you would have put those 7 babies in my stomach when 15 years ago, fella, to realize that you passed up an opportunity, many of them. The right woman. And now ubizo mutumpaga ditlhare o ntse mo zondisa. Taba go o sa ngomanyana entse ele e mo tormenta. Ka ditlhare because o borwa ke taba gore ile neng ex ya teng e bona gore e mo sutlile hakakang. Etle bathong. I'm not going to be a baby when I used to love you. I get lo shapa stena Jezebel. I can spy, skeleton. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not about to go and kick some Jezebel to the curb. Some unfortunate Jezebel who's going to wake up and realize that, oh, my evil didn't pay off. And they've got like a little bit of a John Legend telling them, not when I used to, because you're too much of a gold digger. I'm a gold digger, or these women by immoral, self-respect. That's what's good. Mara, as for those women who gave their lives over to Jesus Christ, you don't get to rock up on some grand unto you. You stirred the shut up. Like, literally, cease and desist from the hostilities in your brain. All of this massacring activity. Lingbela at the beck and call. When you would have married me 15 years ago. Oh, you who claim that you would have married me, like within 2 seconds of us being together, that as soon as we got out of high school in Jefela, or as soon as we graduated university, that you would have popped a ring on it. Herein lies the deal. If you had done what the Lord had charged you to do from long ago, if you had done the right thing, if you had just been a man about it, I would not, on my back right now, be climbed on by some irritating animal from the United States of America that is thoroughly trying to rape me, also I'm from a bar of soap, does not know my culture, my background, my people, does not understand that this place used to be a lot better than that, a man that's taking for granted the African cantankerousness, the chaos in Africa. He is literally juicing it as the exploitative and entitled American that he is, and he is thoroughly trying to kill what you call what would have been your wife out of the observation of your insanity. Like this little animal in America made an observation of the worthlessness of South African men and then decided that he's just gonna kill me because I to a point where a guy would put a gun to my head because I said no. Until this guy. This is the first man that's ever pursued me with a gun to my head. So essentially, the South African lot of men have never been that evil. And yet you pride yourselves in standing back and putting me at the mercy of some filthy animal in America. Angela, you have literally, South African men, put me at the mercy of that man. So really, if you were supposed to be my husband, random Adam wannabe, you would be so grieved by this little buffoon, Wako America, who is literally trying to wipe out of existence what you imagine would have been the woman that was supposed to be your wife. If you truly do love me that much to a point of gloating about the fact that my ex wasted time, he didn't deserve me, and you would have married me, you would not be pleased at all of that insanity. You are not a man right now. You are half an image of what you used to be, if not less than that, maybe a quarter. You have lost your swagger entirely. And the woman that you claim that you love so much that you would have married her, there was somebody actively trying to kill her. Coming from another country, having no understanding of South African culture at all, and how it is that we have fallen so far from glory. All that violence, I am endured to it for the first time in my life from a man that's not even from this country, precisely because of men in this country who abandoned me to suffer. When I bumped into you yesterday, memories rushed to my brain, but you went and told me about your Jesus, and since you don't want to be my mistress turned wife, I guess let that bugger kill you then. Hulukile. lokile he njatuwe esenseng 15 years ka fela ya o shela ha ka o botlo lanza ex-boyfriend yaka e khonne ngom shela ka nako to a point of making you jealous that I was his girl unso lanza mara bottom line is you were under a curse and you capitulated to it because you did not capitulate to a call of God. And given that you are that weak in the spirit, you never would have done what is right anyway, just in the same way that you're currently not doing what is right anyway. By me, all of you South African men busy being laying waste by busy in what's love got to do with it. We are not to him. I'm gonna get you anyway. Why? Because you live in a chaotic country where men are like Tarzan, swinging on a rope, watching out for the God tree. That's what's good. Libizi and Zaliwa down the hill like Jack and Jill fetching a pail of water and you come tumbling down together. Too much to recognize that Americans or random Westerners are out here in these streets trying to fish out great African women because African men are in a cave bashing their fists, their chests. Ooh, like little baboons, just animals, over women they passed up that they can't have now. And so because they're so pissed off at them, what they're doing is leaving them at the mercy of filthy Americans that keep on leaving people to roam these streets despite literally deserving to be in prison for life. Carry on. Do what you want and leave me at the mercy, but understand, Uguti mina, I belong to Jesus. And so in belonging to Christ, I'm going to literally raise a standard up above all this insanity that you are all walking in. You are creepy crawlies critters. You are literally the bonga walking around in these streets when you used to once upon a time have a great deal of glory. And since no one in the kingdom of heaven can, with any decorous language, explain to you how in danger you are, from deep within, nyoko eo kaofela lo itlhatsa la nkutlo ko le lanza ko le ntsha dibonga le ntse le bizela la scotch mo godima tlhogo ya ngwana batho le konkompanana ko le ntsha bonga la tlhaloganya because Christian language e decorous eleng normally eleng with a reasonable frequency ga le tlhaloganya. You think we are on equal playing ground with you devil worshippers when we are seated in heavenly places with the man Christ Jesus. So the Lord raised up a woman o tole gwarang a le lanze ka language le tlhaloganyang le latlhegetswe ke basadi that made sense jwanong le foforeile as banna. It is written in Proverbs 7 or is it 9 or 8 somewhere there the beginning of the Proverbs gore basadi ba bodileng their feet go down to death, their feet go down to Sheol. La tlhaloganya. There's no one that returns from that place. You are warned. O ska ya da. O ska tsena da o tla o tlo sotlwa monna. O tlo boda. Di cherry chicken. Ga rai. Di kidi heleng nje fela when you gawk in her eyes. Marala ya cause le dawe. In and of yourselves it to be le matekwan. So because le high on flaka le trank. So a combination of a fast-paced drug and one that also tranquilizes you. So you're crawling up walls. And now you want Christian women gangan. And you want to restore your reputations and make them look at you like you are reasonable by hooking up spells that are, like I said, here in Last the Deal. How dare you? Or who do you think you are, Danky? You are hooking up spells to blind us from the things that you are doing. Except they're not working. All we see is the rapists. In the dream that I had, in your little secret society by South African dini, by pitang bazaloni, halanzele lawyer, body pulpiting, taloranyang. Ke le bone lo lotlhe le shaple di tswapele di bonga ka ofela go torong le ntshitse bojotlhe ba lona le ntse le utlwisa basadi botlhoko mara le claima hore you're not those kinds of guys. Le cool, you're chill. They can leave anytime they want mara le ntse le busy le ba tshware seats. Ko le ntsha di bonga. Le apere di bonga tsa di cherry nogal. Cause right now you are members of the colorful agenda. The way le batlang ba di cherry ka teng is that basic. You've lost your manhood akere ha le sa bias ke le mesa ba bo out akere cause lona le tlo handla di cherry ka ditlhare ha le gone go lo flexa di muscles tsa lona ka nnete le gymming lo thola di potris tsa mannet. Instead le pha di potris ka the spirit realm. So ko le ntsha di tswapa akere cause la apere di G-string as di as banna le kentse di cherry go jwanong. You are members of the colorful community jwanong. Ke ha re ka lefa letter ra mogara economy ele etelele ya kwa America ke ha re ka lefa letter ra re tsebo ro ibitsang wusses LBGTQRA plus W for wuss. That's what's good. You're a member of that community now. That's what's good. One of the pluses is a W called wuss. Yalla as wusses. Angela, Lady wuss, because you have literally gone to very shoddy, underhanded methodologies in order to force women to be with you. And as the wusses you are, until you wear either manhood or nipbodes in jandini. You must either die or become men. Because at this point, due to your accommodation of that desperate female called Jezebel. I ke tseba sa batle modimo because obviously o le ntshitse nyoko ya lona mara le busy ntse le fofa mo mafielong masihung over matlu a basadi a le tswileng mo bona long ago mara jwanong so mo batla o qeta go divorce mosadi wa hawa bitre ga di ditsa ha ke diken le ntlhorisitse ka tweba ya kwa America ke entseng nna o lo deserve motho go gakala kana ntse ntshela ka ditlhare ka voodoo a ntse tsore lerato le what does it have to do with it am batla ka high and low kankan le gona no ke grandship I'm happy le ga ntlhaloganye leng tlhorisitse ka ntja e tsherianeng ya kwa America and how ka mo bele tlore you deserve it for basically rejecting your ancestors bali etseditseng other than marry you off to basadi that you are busy singing baby when I used to love you too leng etse di Jezebel tla di rateng le batla o tla mo phelong ba karabo ha o ka mo bele re nna ha ka tlhokomela ke madlozi ha ke wa batle madlozi a senyang ha kana ke right a senya a tshwatlile metsi a lona before you could even start o a sentse mara le business le worshipa batho ba le senyeditseng be ka moso uncle ya gagwe ne e rape di cherry wa e worshipa nya ya hle amadlozi enu antshontshelele abo girlfriend antshontshelele abo wife abayenza sense kodwa nisaba worshipa your demons deterred you or distracted you from taking the proper wives that you would not have cheated on, that you also would have loved so much that you would have been prepared to protect them from menaces in America. Ba tumpang di cherry tsa ko South Africa ka di flying kiki because ana motho maratang. You would have done what is responsible and fit for you. But instead, they led you so astray that now you're too bitter. Now the prospect of watching the woman that was supposed to be yours walking down the aisle to somebody else grieves you so much that o kampane wa moloya aba tlhokafala. Wait ke go gontsha tswape abuti. Since o apere G-string, I kitse bo go aperetseng G-string le monna o le mokana. And now your manhood it tlo dula jwang mo hara underbende e nang le a string at the back. There's too much going on over there for men to be wearing thongs mara di busy. Ke ba ka lo rekela swimming costume ele ya ko Target ko America enang le dikhala tse di ngata e kgonang go accommodate bonna ba gago kaofela because right now o cherry. That's what you are. You're like little girls literally rocking around trying to act as if though you're men. Lebana. Halis bias kelem sa tlogela banyana. Leba tshwarisitse. You have arrested women, made them catatonic and comatose in relationships they can't get out of because they don't know what's holding them hostage. All they can do is sway or rock left to right in chairs you have put them in a mental asylum inside your shrine. Get right. That I had, it was a whole bunch of women. They looked like boys. They all could have been no older than 19 or 20, but I recognized all of their faces. It was men all the way ranging from one of my cousins to my exes to random dudes that I grew up with that I knew, who today are middle-aged men, okay? But they looked like teenagers in the stream. And they were wearing tsotsi clothing. Like, a poor boy hat. Some of them had like wife beaters on, etc. They looked like shoddy guys. A toothpick in their or a matchstick in their mouths, looking like a typical abuser. And in this dream, they had kidnapped a whole bunch of women that, again, I recognized, including myself, ranging from as far back as like in the 90s when I was growing up. Like a domestic worker we used to have was in the stream. My cousins, a whole bunch of my former friends, my former girlfriends, now they're not my friends anymore because backstabber much. Anyway, whatever. They will cause you to lose abantu bazoshona in your lives, even though basaphila bakhokumoya altogether. Kodwa abekho in your life anymore, to a point where you might as well have written them RIP dead. I might as well be dead to abangani bami bonke. High school, primary school, yeah. Zinjandin, litla ituta go ska backstab. Is that basic? Le boloi, litla ituta go se karate satane. Le ntse le manipulate bana ba batho ba ska kry degree or ba be restricted in terms of who they marry. Hambani zinjandin ngimithi yenu, hambani ngempela. All of these girls were in my dream, including, like I said, women from as far back as like the 80s, 90s that are no longer in my life and I have not seen them for decades. And all of them were kidnapped. And guess where the kidnap location was at? My aunt's house. Yet again, this woman's house. It's just all up in my dream. You tolerate that woman Jezebel. That's what the Bible has to say. Le tolerate le Jezebel, the Lord has put you into great tribulation, and he will put Jezebel herself in a, what do you call this thing? On a sickbed. They had kidnapped all of us. We had come out of what looked like police vans. And these police vans basically, out into Jarada and Diwag, and it had these high walls, and we could not get out. And all of us feared being raped by these boys. They looked like boys, even though they're all middle-aged men. All of them. They are like from the age of like today, like maybe 38 to 50. They are much too old to be looking like teenagers in my dream, but in my dream they look like teens, going no older than 21. and they had kidnapped all of these women, and all of us feared that we're going to get raped by them, gang raped one by one by one. And I, in my dream, was thinking, I've never been raped before. I've already gone through so much. Can this be the one thing that, as a woman who has suffered abuse at the hands of men, can this be the one thing that I avoid? I've already gone through so much. I don't want to get raped. I was so scared of getting raped in this dream. I was so scared. And I did not want to have that extra PTSD slap me. I am being pursued by rape right now, but I've never been raped. In the season of my sorrow, there was one guy that nearly did it, but I prospered to come up from underneath that. So I have never physically been raped, but I've been sexually harassed and coerced to a point where rape, still to this day, is a thing. And I keep calling witchcraft, like love spells, korobela, rape as well, because a woman would never have consented if you had not manipulated her spiritually. Here it is that I was in this dream with all these women. All of them were trying to act like everything is normal. I was scared. All of us were scared that we were going to get raped. But some of them started to act like this is our life. So we might as well just capitulate, take it. Because there's no escaping this prison. This is our life. This is our life. I don't know what that movie is called. Yeah, Angelina Jolie, where she's not in the movie, but she produces it. It displays the war crimes that were committed in Bosnia Herzegovina in the 90s. Ultimately, after the end of that war, rape was considered a crime. It was declared by Amnesty International as a crime against humanity because of war criminals having a field day with the women of a war-torn or a war-ravaged ecosystem, because nobody was coming for them. There were no police stations. Nobody was going to help them out. The region was so war-torn that they just had women in Jefela. They just raped them. Some of the women would get pregnant and would not know who the baby daddy is because they would be raped by so many men. And they would then pop these babies unawares to themselves as to who among the men that raped them was the dad. It was that bad. That whole war caused Amnesty International to declare rape as a crime against humanity. A similar scene of that nature was happening in this dream, where these women were now like kind of content with the fact that they've been kidnapped and that they were going to get repeatedly raped by these men and maybe even give birth to their babies. But it is what it is. So rather than resist, just take it in your stride so you don't at least come out with bruises. And I could not settle in my heart for that to be true. I was so scared of being raped. Yet these guys, remember I told you, they try to block me from seeing what they're doing. And then God finally showed me what they did in this dream. We sat around waiting to get raped by these men, but these guys only kidnapped us, but never raped us. Hours progressed. I mean, in a dream, of course, it wasn't hours, but it felt like hours. Hours progressed that we were being held at, and they were not coming to rape us. They were just holding us in that environment. We could not get out of it, but they were not raping us. Ultimately, one of the guys opened the door of the compound to leave, to go somewhere. And when he opened this door, he left in a drunken stupor, so forgot to close it. And I looked at this door. I was staring at it. It was, the color of the door is also important. It was like that red powder, Eddie Sangoma. Whenever I see that color, it just speaks, it screams, yells witchcraft. This door, as it was open, since this guy staggered outside, staggered out of it like a drunkard and left it open. I wanted to run, guys. I wanted to make a run for it and basically run to the nearest police station, which at that stage, since it's my aunt's house, was Moroka police station. But I knew that if I did not make it to that police station and report the crime, and so bring the police to this place to break it down and shatter this human trafficking organization, that I was gonna die. So either I sat there and waited for or took the risk to run, where the risk would have been that I might have gotten caught, but one of these guys would have chased after me for running and then killed me. And the dream ended with me basically contemplating, but I never really did it because I was so scared to get out that I just was standing there contemplating, but the door was open for me to leave. What was the Lord showing me with that dream? It ended that way. God was showing me that women are so trapped by these men. They are so kidnapped that they have settled themselves in the fact that this is life. What else can we do other than embrace it? That there is a door that the Lord has opened for rescue, and this door, if just one woman can flee out of it, they can actually bring a rescue effort of Maponi Sakofela to break down this entire structure. If just one woman raises awareness, it could actually rescue them all. But women are just content. However, these men, remember, I was scared they were going to rape us, and yeah, however, hours progressed and they didn't rape us. The Lord is also showing me that they're trying to change their image in front of women. They are changing their strategy in the sense that they don't want to come across as these rapists that are forceful and coercive, just as men that have put women in an environment to see them, but they don't get to go beyond a particular perimeter. However, we're not going to force ourselves onto you. So right now they are slapping women kakorobela. Right now they are forcing women to sleep with them. There's a very strong rape culture, but because they don't want to be associated with rape anymore, lessened it. They have watered down the witchcraft to basically incorporate just the incarceration of women. Put them in an environment that's going to make them eventually embrace these men to a point of being okay with them, but not force stuff down their throats. However, they were incarcerated. These women were in a compound that they could not escape. And it was only because one drunk guy opened a door that I saw an opportunity to escape. But I still was apprehensive about taking it because I was scared of getting caught and killed. First of all, the fact that the number of women that were there in this capacity, not number, sorry, but the type of the caliber of women that were there included ladies all the way from like the 80s. Like a domestic worker we had when I was just a child. At the time she was in her mid-20s. The Lord was showing me how far back this goes. Strongly bound in chains by cultic men. Women in this country have been. And the culmination of it is pretty much what it is that is the state of the country today. Gender-based violence on another level. But now that it has reached this height, gender-based violence, the men no longer want to be associated with so much violence against women. So they are watering down their strategy, so it's not so bad. So essentially they understand that they're responsible for the destruction of the country. They know that what they have been doing for decades has culminated to this point. Scale it back, but not fully unhinge, unravel, and not fully dismantle this evil organization. They don't want to dismantle it altogether. They just want to scale back because they have observed the ramifications over decades as destructive, especially to women. And now that they've put us in a nice little docile position and also a nice little fearful position, they trust that most of us won't run until one drunk man and left the door open. Now, what is the equivalent of the drunk man? Well, what is God showing me with that drunk man that got out and left the door open? The carelessness of these men in their waking lives outside of the occult activity that they're in. The rituals that they do, they have so far managed to somewhat keep them clandestine and secretive and not be so obviously demonic. The thing about witchcraft is it makes you so drunk and you become so dumb that just like a criminal that robs a bank and then goes on a shopping spree splurge, howbeit having been poor yesterday, he is calling attention to himself. Because yesterday you had no money, dude, and now you're buying all of Gucci. Come on, you need to keep a low profile. Otherwise, you're going to get busted. Well, a lot of these ritualists, especially considering they're on such a heavy recruitment drive, they are amateur. And so the moment they start making money, the moment they start getting real prosperity from the occult, they splurge it so much, they cause such an eventfulness around their lives of a clear, obvious darkness that they're involved in, that people start to wonder what's going on here. Going on. And so it is these like amateur witches that don't know how to keep a low profile from the prosperity they have gained from the occult, that basically are the ones who are opening the door. They're the ones that are exposing everybody else in this occult organization. And my ex-boyfriend was an amateur in the worst way. Look at what he's done to his ex. My mom is an amateur. My cousin is an amateur. Like so many people in especially the last 10 years have been so amateurish in the way that they have done witchcraft that it has basically blown the top off the occult altogether operating in the country, including all of its secret societies. And so how evil is running rampant is causing many people to really be like, there's got to be a way out of this. And when enough people do testimonies against darkness that is afflicting them, more and more people start to believe that there is a way out. Like, I have been listening to this one channel on YouTube called African Confessions. There are so many people that are telling their stories about their involvement in the occult and how incredibly electric or ornate or or ostentatious their rituals are. It becomes so obvious that they are satanic worshippers, that they're devil worshippers. Like, my cousin is such an obvious devil worshipper that no one even has the Lord has shown me nobody trusts her because they literally imagine that my life is because of what she's done. They are too showy in a way that old school witches were a lot more careful. They were a lot more a lot less, let me rather use the word less, they were a lot less tactless. They were a lot less tactless in the way that they evidenced or they spent their acquisitions in sorcery. The obviousness of it is the door out. It is the thing that can enable you to run to the police and cause a raid on a compound that has trafficked women. And I am one of the people basically sounding an alarm. And more people are going to believe me. And so this whole thing is going to have its top blown off. This organization that has been operating clandestinely in the country for all of these years, it's going to come to a blistering end because it has destroyed South Africa. It has laid women waste It has weakened the resolve of women to survive dark, demonic men. And it is an organization of men that is creating Stepford wives. But I will confess that its origins is the sabotage by evil women. Women are the root, not the root cause. Men are supposed to teach women. They're supposed to train us up in wisdom and in godliness. So when society falls apart, the responsibility falls on men because they were supposed to do a better job at guiding women and children. So when women go out of hand and become like Jezebels, the responsibility literally lies with men at the very beginning. The prosperity of this organization of wicked men is only as prosperous as it is and has been for all these years because of Jezebel women that have helped it along. Women that have literally pulled the rug from underneath the feet of other women and made sure that they don't get ahead. And so they've made it really easy for a misogynistic climate of patriarchal animals to destroy. But I am telling you, there is a way out. The Bible says perfect love casts out fear, and he who has been made perfect in love. So, love casts out fear, and he who has been made perfect in love does not. In my dream, I was scared to run. But I understood that if I ran and made it to the police station, there would be a raid on the compound, and that whole thing would end. But I was apprehensive. The Lord was showing me women who are so scared of being bewitched by men and killed in death curses or held, God brought back, like all different kinds of paraphernalia to reel a person back in that's running away. They're so scared of occult magic, like a country that has been made drunk from occult magic so badly. People don't even trust in the power of Jesus to rescue the day. Like they don't trust that they can actually pray and get answered prayer if they can just trust in the Lord. So they lean on their own understanding and they fear the occult more than they don't trust the deliverance of the Lord. And so they stay stranded in an environment where they're scared to get raped. They don't want to be compromised in this way. They don't want to marry a devil worshipper. They don't want to be a puppet on a string to some satanic man or twitsing. And vice versa. I guess it must also happen for women too. And so they stay in a compromised environment even though a way out has been opened for them. The whole country is confessing to darkness, including people in the occult. How in the world are you not trying to fix it? Jesus Christ is the only way out. And insofar as you don't take that baton and repent, you will ever be stranded under these satanic men. The reason I am so brave and I speak to them and about them like this is because I have no fear. The love of God has made me perfectly safe. Angibasabi. So I call them out. And I know that when I call them out, I provoke them to more spells. I provoke them to cast more of their demons at me, but I'm seated in heavenly places with Christ, guys. So there is no weapon that they form against me that shall ever prosper. I am the one that refutes every tongue that accuses me in the judgment, and I condemn it. I trample on those serpents and all those scorpions. I throw them into disarray. I discombobulate them, do you understand? They are confounded in their speech because of my prosperity in Christ. That is what I have. That is the baton that I am carrying. I have no fear. Like I said earlier. I speak to them in a very candid fashion because I have no, and that is wreaking havoc in their lives. And on top of that, they have tried to kill me over and over and over and over again, and their spells fall on deaf ears so badly. They fall on fallow ground so badly. They fall on unfertile ground so badly, on infertile ground so badly, that now they have resorted to trying to kill me at my own hands. They have been trying to depress me so that I would commit suicide because they literally cannot kill me any other way. Go and ask anyone in the occult that's done a satanic ritual to kill a person. They don't need this person to kill themselves. All they do is cast a spell and a person dies in their sleep. A person bleeds out of the nose. A person foams at the mouth. A person gets into a car accident. A person gets shot by a stray bullet in the street. A person suddenly has a heart attack and they drop dead. That's how they kill in the occult. But me, they can't get to me. So all they can do is inspire so much depression and so much melancholy, so much sorrow and so much isolation. They have literally ostracized me from the earth and kept me in solitude so that I will eventually think God does not care about me, get drunk in all different kinds of macabre pine 24 hours a day until I just go and right ahead and pop some pills or grab a razor and slice my wrist, grab a noose and hang. They're trying to get me to commit suicide because all of their death curses that they have tried on me to die in my sleep. One time they sent me cancer. And I'm out here still with a clean bill of health. I literally am going nowhere. And they would try to send me a headache that would eventually end me. And then I take a grandpa and I'm done. And I come back and I bounce around again. It frustrates the living daylights out of them. They don't know what in the world to do. They keep burning candles over and over and over again. The end of the candle burning, of which when I'm still alive, they feel frustrated, then try again and again. The guy in America in particular, that's his death curse. There's a candle that he burns, a yellow, that he's been burning over and over and over and over and over again. And every time I come back and I'm like, oh, Kadile, that's all I say. Maybe sometimes I might have a little bit of depression, but I conquer it. And ever since I went back to exercise, my goodness, especially since I went back to exercise, they can't touch me. Even they can't do anything. Ever since I went back to exercise, even the macabre, the depression, that doesn't even catch me. So they are out of ideas. All they have is the use of my family to frustrate me, hurt me, convert me into a little domestic servant amidst my family members. Their strategy is very restricted where I'm concerned. All they can do is abuse me through family and through isolation and macabre and melancholy. People around me to have no regard for what's going on. They can only abuse me through curses of no one watching my content, liking me, like just targeting me through extenuating things because they cannot knock me out themselves. So of course, and on top of that, they're getting dark, they're exhausted. Witchcraft is wearing them out. So I'm winning. I am conquering in the worst way. And yet there are women sitting, compromised by dark, evil boyfriends that you are prepared to walk down the aisle to because due to the fact that you don't know what's going to happen if you dump him. Are you serious? All you can do is go to some sangoma to vigela you. I'm sorry, God is the only one that can protect you. You want to have the level of bravery that I have. And even though you keep on getting massacred by these people, 2 feet, all you struggle with is a little bit of a headache. All you struggle with is a one sleepless night out of a 7-day week of perfect sleep. And then you come back around and you do what you need to do. During the week, they made me somewhat drunk on the dance floor. I was so weakened by their sorcery that I was struggling to work out, but I bounced around anyway. I worked out anyway. And by the time 4 p.m. yesterday arrived, I had conquered. I had broken through past something. But now today there's something else afflicting me. I'm going to break past it too. That level of power, when you're being come up against by that many demonic worshippers, when you've got like a whole occult organization that's been operating in the country for decades, unable to bring you low. Honeys, I'm onto something on that day. I'm literally onto something. I am rolling around in a power that cannot be conquered. And they've become so desperate, their hands are so tied behind their back, that all they can do now is play dirty by making my family not love me so much that nobody loves me, everybody hates me. I'm gonna eat some worms, big fat juicy ones, creamy ones, tasty ones. I'm gonna eat some worms. All they can do is try and inspire me to suicide, but kill me they can't. They are frustrated by me. And on top of that, they're hella embarrassed. Some of them have been part of this organization for decades, years. They've been a part of it for so long that the prospect of walking out is grieving them. One, because of all the wealth they've made, and secondly, they also have got a deep fear of leaving the occult because they've seen such dangerous things that they're scared that they're going to get killed. They no longer have anything left in them of a faith in a God that can deliver them from the darkness they're in, so they're abusing a woman that they can't have. Now they also want to marry me because I am literally a glimmer of hope to get out of what they're in, because whatever it is that I'm walking in has conquered whatever it is that has knocked out a whole bunch of people that they've witnessed die. So because they think I am their Jesus. I already spoke about that in another video that I did. Your only way out of being so demonically abused by these satanic worshippers is Christ. And if you don't want to believe that, I don't know. Mara, to be trapped in a compound because of some Jezebel women, busy 2 feet, refusing that you should get your career, your husband, your everything that you've ever wanted in one batch. Girlfriend, best friend yakho ayizingeni. Jezebel busy. Jezebel yakhona abamfuni. Bafuna ukumdampa for wena. Hayi suka. Why are you gonna go sit that out? Why are you gonna go be the second wife of some filthy animal? Why are you gonna go be the third or the fourth wife? Why are you gonna be the mistress of some man? Because beautiful as you are, you're just not getting married fast enough. Why are you settling? Because you accommodating these ran into you yesterday randos will make out of you the homewrecker Oshapileng Cherikastena when you were the first woman that he fell in love with. He was supposed to marry you first. Mara busy as the mistress of some dude you were flirting with in primary school. Are you serious? All the best with that. I'm signing out in Christ's name. This whole nonsense. Yeah, di baringana tsa go bloga. A ke le tshabi ko le ntsha di tswape tsa lona. Di outita bring di G-string ko dintsha. I'm going to expose to wonke umuntu ukuthi you're wearing a whole leather G-string as a gigolo, stripping up and down a polo, making yourself like Sam Smith. You calling yourself a man. A bow tie and a clown nose because you're a bozo. That's what you are. But people are respecting you. They're calling you boss. People are calling you president. People are calling you premier. People are calling you CEO. But mara you're a clown. Angin sabi nonke. random like death cult or assassins, whatever you want to call yourself, squad sa botikin that call themselves amadoda anginsabi, come at me ka di flying boot prints a lona ka kwa e kana ya Sam Smith gumgetlela come ka gumgetlela ya gago mo sfatlhegong saka, and watch if I ke go drippy tomorrow ko lentsha nyoko le leng yona banna ko lentsha wa nkutla. I am going to take out all the rubbish you are, and by the time ke fetsa ka lona di cherry ha di tlo le tshaba anymore. I'm standing out in Christ's name, Cran K. Bye.